What is up, everybody? Welcome once again to my channel, and today let's go for another round of the Chicane Online Racing League. We're about to start with round 7 of the championship, and we are at the circuit of Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix. As you guys can hear the ticking down of the clock for the start of our lobby. Let's get ourselves started with the track introduction, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, today we are at the Ardennes region at the glorious Circuit du Spa-Francorchamps. Today, despite this not being the mythical 14-kilometer layout that was used until back in 1983, the current layout has been the stage of some of the most memorable races in F1 history. From Schumacher's amazing debut qualifying in 91 to Jordan's first ever win back in 1998 and Schumach's championship winning race in 2004, Spa has been synonymous with amazing racing, always spiced up by its unpredictable weather patterns. In terms of our tire components, as you guys can see, we have available to us the softs, the super softs and the mediums. We expect the super soft starters to go for the mediums at lap 6 and the soft starters to pit for mediums at the end of lap 10. Moving ourselves into the lobby to the driver's standings, we have Recycle Finn taking back the lead of the championship after a great race at the German Grand Prix. Swiffer follows only 7 points behind as Svein is in P3 with 61 points to his name. 2 points behind we have Kosia, followed by Sloppy McFloppy in 5th for the second of the Saubers, with Calipos the best of the Ferraris in 6th, followed by Fungus in 7th. Then we have Marcel above the Canadian with 33 points to his name so far, Wiz Lee in the Williams with 31 points, and El Nabo closing the top 10 with 23 points. Moving to the constructors, we have Alfa Romeo leading the championship with 168 points. Then you have Renault 57 points behind, 1 point above Ferrari, who sits in 3rd place at the moment. Then we have the second Italian Scuderia of the championship, Toro Rosso with 108 points. Then it is a big margin to Mercedes, who have only 52 points so far in this championship, followed by McLaren Renault 46, 5 points ahead of Williams, as the American-based team Haas sits with 38 points, followed by Silverstone-based Force India, as Red Bull hasn't scored any points so far in this championship. Hey Kevin, what's up? How are you doing, man? Okay, so let's get ourselves to the lobby. Let me take that out of the way and minimize the window. So, as you guys can see, we have only 14 drivers racing here today. We are currently following with the Haas driver COR Bottas, who didn't have the greatest performance in Germany after getting 5th place at the British round of this championship. He didn't get better than 12th place at Germany, so hopefully he can have a good race here at Spa-Francorchamps. Hopefully he can have a bouncing back performance and get back on some points scoring form. I'm going to get myself in the detail of the tires and enable the lap data. As you guys have heard me say before, there are at least 2 strategies. I don't think anyone can do any other strategies and be effective. The one stop is possible around here. Either you are starting on the super softs or on the softs, you switch to the mediums at lap 6 or at lap 10 and you will be fine to take them to the end. Of course, if you start on the softs, you might have a tire advantage on the mediums towards the end, but if you are running with the super softs, you have the advantage early on the race. Now I'm following COR Bottas, who's about to start his flying lap. Let's see how it goes. We also have a couple newcomers in this race. We have Victor, who took part of the German Grand Prix but unfortunately did not manage to finish the race, and Evil Kiwi, who is promoted from the 2nd tier and gets himself his debut here in the 1st tier of the COR Championship. Bottas now gets through La Source, up through the gears, through the left-right combination of Rouge, climbing to another left of Radion. Now up through the gears, he managed to do that quite nicely. DRS wide open, pushing the maximum out of the engine and the energy delivery system. Let's see how it goes. He's now looking for the 100-meter marker sign on the left-hand side before getting to the chicane. And now we get ourselves on the downhill section of the track. Very tricky braking zone into this right-hander. Of course, you are slowing down, downshifting and turning at the same time. He did not quite get the apex, a bit wide on exit. You have to get to the right-hand side of the track before opening up this corner with no name. As you now hold your breath, you just give a slight tap on the brakes, maybe a downshift as you throw the car into Piron. Hope it sticks. Very well done by the British driver, as we are now well into the second sector. Now this right-left combination, you need to not get too ahead of yourself, because if you pick up the throttle too early, you can actually run wide. Looks like he did well, 30.1 through the second sector, as we now go full throttle once again through this right-hander. Now you prepare yourself for Blanchimo. Even though this is not too hard of a corner, it's sure to see some overtaking action this afternoon. Now we have to wait for just above 100 or just before 100 meters. We go hard on the brakes, down to second gear as we get through the bus stop chicane. You need to get cleanly on the power on the exit as you up through the gears once again and cross over the line to get a 145.3. Of course, did the lap on the mediums, so it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the best lap ever, but considering he's on the mediums, that's not competitive lap time for sure. Now let's take a look at another one of our drivers, as I'm looking for him. We have who is it? We have Victor. Let me see if he's on his flying lap. It does look like he's on the flying lap, making a bit of a mistake there, still having a quicker sector too than Bottas, virtue of him using this Red Wall super soft tires. But yeah, he on his debut race at Germany did not manage to complete it, unfortunately. But word has gotten to me that he's actually a very quick driver. So let's see what he can manage today. Let's see if he can finally get some points to start his season, as we basically have a debuting lineup here at Red Bull. Victor crosses over the line with 8th place. He made a lot of mistakes on that lap, it seemed, so he is going to have to get back in and try again another lap. Let's see how it goes for some of these drivers who have already completed their flying laps, therefore are returning into the pits. I want to take a look at Evil Kiwi, who's currently on his out lap. By the way, before we jump into the second Red Bull driver, we have Koshia, who just posted a lap time of 143.3, also on the mediums, so he becomes the best out of the medium runners, currently with 7th place. Now we can jump to Evil Kiwi, who's currently on his out lap, who is debuting, but we already know him. If you follow my broadcasts, we already know him from the second tier back at WCR. He's a very competent driver. I rate him quite highly, and I am excited to see how he compares to the remaining drivers of the field. Now, while we are waiting for everything to pan out, we still have 11 minutes to go here on this session, so let me know in chat what you guys think we can get in terms of the results. Who you guys are betting on? Who you guys are betting on for the pole position and for a potential race win today? But let me know in chat who you guys are rooting for today, as you have Evil Kiwi about to start his lap. We are on board with the Czech driver. It's going to be hard to not say the Czech driver of the Toro Rossos. I'm so used to seeing him drive the more bluish or the lighter bluish of the Red Bull family cars. Is now up to the gears once again through Eau Rouge and Radion. Looks like he did it very well. No bit of track extension there. Engine right on the limits of its power. You get the DRS wide open, and now it will be the wing angle making its worth at the moment. Now before the braking zone into this chicane, as you now start going downhill once again. A bit of a wide exit. We heard the crunch of the gravel there on the rubber of the super soft tires is running on. Now gets a wide entrance to this right-hander. He also did very well through Rivage. Now once again about 30 meters away from the corner, you lift off or make a tap on the brakes. That was a bit wide on the entry from the Czech driver. I don't know if he got that lap invalidated or not. At least we didn't get any notification, as you're now about to complete the second sector. He's getting a bit of understeer to there, which is unfortunate. Hopefully he can do some adjustments to either on his driving or on his setup to make sure it doesn't happen again. 29.5, I believe it was, is sector 2 time. Let's see how it gets now up through the gears as we prepare for another quick left-hander, this time around of Blanchimont, using the entire width of the track to maximize speed, looking for the 100-meter board. He goes hard on the brakes, a bit of a lock-up there. The tires did not enjoy the braking action, a bit of a lively rear end on the exit, but he still crosses the line with a lap time of 1:43.2. So not exactly badly done from Eiffel Kiwi. He's quicker at least. He's at least doing what he should. He's quicker than the softs and medium runners. Let's see if he can do better later on the session. We have Marcel above the Canadian, also on a flying lap of his own, as we are going to speak about the Canadian for a bit. He who has 3 7th place finishes on this season, and last time around at Germany he finally did not have a disconnection, got himself a 4th place finish, just barely on the podium, but a very respectable position nonetheless, as it looks like he went wide at Rivage, or maybe it was just me. Maybe my eyes were deceiving me, but it looked to me like, yeah, he is aborted his lap, unfortunately for him. So we are going to jump with some other people who are on the soft tires. We have Kosia on his out lap in his Ferrari number 13. But as I was saying about the Canadian driver of the Renault, he finished 7th in the first race of the season after disconnecting for a period of time. At Spain, did the exact same thing, disconnection to 7th place. Then at Canada, he finally got his first podium of the season and only podium of the season so far with a 3rd place. Then Austria, he finished in 4th. At Britain, I wasn't able to broadcast the race, but he got 7th place again. And at Germany, he did not disconnect, fortunately, but could not better 4th place. So he is been consistently in either 7th place or 4th place. He's either at 7th place or in the top 5. So let's see which version of the Canadian driver we have today, as Victor has already retired from the session. I don't know if it was due to a crash or just him being satisfied with his pace, which I doubt considering he's outside of the top 10, but maybe that's his strategy. Maybe he wants the brand new tires, as we have Recycle Finn crossing the line to take on the first place at the moment. So he's on provisory pole, 142.0, so he's very close to being the first driver to get below the 142s. Let's see if we can make that a reality here today. Scotia is getting himself up through the first sector, clean exit out of Rouge as he opens the DRS through the Camel Straight. Nice clean shot there of the flap in its full effect. Let's get himself up through the gears. 100 meters away from the corner is where you brake for this right-left chicane. But as I'm going to say, the Lithuanian, he who got pole in the last race at Germany, he made a brilliant qualifying performance to get himself pole, but he had a disastrous first lap. He dropped, I believe, to P4, maybe P5 at one point during that first lap. He recovered a little bit, but at the end of the day, he also didn't have the greatest second stint, so he finished 5th place after getting pole position. So hopefully he can be still as strong in qualifying as he was before, with also realizing his potential podium or potential win in the race as well. Let's see how he does through the second sector. His Ferrari has looked composed. It's also awfully cloudy, and I believe it is actually raining at the moment. Let's see if that affects the time of the Ferrari. Because the game is known, even if it is dry, if it starts raining, you lose even straight line speed for some reason. So let's see how that goes. Heavy on the brakes now for the last corners of the lap. And we have Kosia crossing over the line, and it is going to be a time of 1:45.3, which I don't think it was an improvement. Yeah, it was not an improvement, so the rain definitely affected this lap. And I believe this is going to be it for the session. Everybody got out there on their super soft laps. Now, Magnets and Skull, both Force India drivers, did not put a lap in. I don't know if they just didn't realize it was going to rain late in the race, or if they actually just want to start from the back of the grid and take advantage of some chaos that might occur into turn 1 at the start of the Grand Prix. We actually have no information regarding... Oh my god, Kosia gets on the wall there at the exit of 1, 2, 4, at the exit of turn number 7 there, I believe it was. Yes, on the run down to Rivage. And yeah, I guess he's just trying to retire. He finally gets it done. But yeah, no one is going to drop their pace. No one is going to lap quicker than this, as the rain is going to start dropping harder and harder. So I guess we just have 4 minutes of dead time, so to speak. I know it is a bit unfortunate. Still, we have... sorry, it wasn't both Force India guys. I'm blind. It was... Skull is a Haas driver. I'm sorry about that. I thought for some reason Magnets and Skull's color rectangle looked the same to me, but no, we have one of the Force Indias up in 4th place. He's currently on his outlap. I'm sure he's going to abort that because of course he's not going to have a competitive pace on dry tires under these wet conditions. That's most likely not going to be an improvement on his lap time, but still 4th place so far. He who has had 3 top 10 finishes, with 10th place at both Spain and Canada. Then he did not start Austria, did not start Silverstone, but he did get 9th place at Germany. So he's been, I would say, consistently in the top 10, and he gets himself a 4th place qualifying performance. So very nicely done from the British driver. Maybe it's just a strong circuit for him. Let's see how this qualifying performance converts in terms of race results later on. He gets himself into the pits, and he's probably going to retire soon. We also have Sloppy Mafloppy, the reigning world champion, is also on an outlap of his own. At least they are giving us some racing time or some driving time. At least we are not just looking at the pits, fortunately for me. Even though if everyone retired, we could get soon to the race. It's always nice to see those cars getting driven to the limit on these circuits. The number 99 is going to pull off to the pits, as maybe he's practicing for some wet conditions. Maybe we are going to have rain on the race. We were not informed of any possible rain, but perhaps they are practicing the transition, the grip levels during each lap of the transition from dries to wet tires. And yeah, that might be part of their strategy. Let's see how it goes until the end, as everyone retires. Bottas, Magnet and Skull are on the pits. So until those 3 retire, or until we get to the end of the session, we won't have really much to look at. So it is now a nice opportunity again. I can take a look at the chat, and I see Sim Suarez rooting for Sloppy McFloppy, and LGS says that he likes Evil Kiwi from WCR. So we have a bit of support there for both the reigning champion and to Evil Kiwi. I haven't seen any support for Recycle Finn, the championship leader at the moment. Sloppy McFloppy, he did not take part of the first 2 races of the season. Then he came back at Canada with a 2nd place. He raced after that at Austria with a 2nd place. Then he did not take part of the Silverstone race, so for the British Grand Prix he's not going to score any points. But then at Germany he also got a 2nd place. So every single race Sloppy McFloppy has taken part of this season, he has gotten a 2nd place finish, of course, out of 3 races so far in the season. He's taken himself out of a possible championship battle unless something catastrophic occurs to both Recycle Finn and Swiffer through the next couple races. Sloppy McFloppy is out of the championship fight, as we have Valtteri getting in chat. What is up, Valtteri? How are you doing, man? Welcome to the live stream. As we have LGS also saying that if Kiwi wasn't in this race, he would go and cheer for Recycle, which I'm sure he is appreciative of. And I am also myself a fan of Recycle, if I can say that. I've raced him, so I know how quick he is. I've battled him myself, so I can attest for the fact that he's a very capable driver, at least in this game. We are getting ourselves to the official results after everyone gets through their loading procedures. And there we have it, just above 1/10 of a gap between first and third even. I was going to say second, but no, it's actually third, as both Alfa Romeos are behind Recycle Fin, who takes pole for today. Colin with a great performance in fourth place, followed by Calipos in fifth, Fungus in sixth, Marcel LeBeuf in the only Renault in seventh, Evil Kiwi on his debut in eighth, Koshia in ninth on the mediums, followed by Weasley and Bottas also on the white marked tire, as Victor put a very early lap on and was the last of the drivers to put a lap on, but he did not try to improve. So yeah, maybe he wants to have the brand new tires for the race. Again, no messages from any of the drivers regarding the weather, so unfortunately we don't have that at our disposal, but the skies do look clean at the moment for the start of this Belgium Grand Prix. It's going to be interesting. As you can see on the left hand side of our screens, the car's just teleporting to the grades, funnily enough. And it is also a very nice touch. If you guys look at the pit wall, for example, at the right bottom corner of your screens, you have Valtteri Bottas there because no one is driving on that side of the garage for Mercedes, but on the other side you have the 99 of GC Fungus. So it's actually a very nice touch Codemasters have introduced into the game, and one I think adds to the immersion of it, if I can say so myself. It might be an overused expression, but nonetheless it is very nice to see. As the lights go green for the start of the formation lap, we get Marcel LeBeuf in chat on Twitch saying that it is an overcast race, so no rain is expected for the race, despite making an appearance on the qualifying time period. So let's get ourselves our spectator menu sorted out. I want to see the tires everyone is on. Don't really need the telemetry or the lap data. So that's going to be it. It is Finn, followed by Sloppy McFloppy, Swiffer, Colin, Calipos and Fungus. The top 6 starting on the super softs, Marcel LeBeuf. Then on the softs for the start of the race, Evil QA with the super softs. Then we have the bottom row, or the 5th row of the grid, using mediums on their cars. Then we have Bottas in 11th, Victor in 12th, Magnets in 13th and Skull in 14th. All 4 of them starting the race on brand new soft tires. Again, for those of you who came in late, the strategies are most likely going to be the super softs to the mediums, where you pit at around lap 6, or from the softs to the mediums, where you pit at lap 10. Those who start on the mediums, I would say I'm not sure what lap you should pit on. Maybe lap number 15 to a set of super softs, or maybe lap 12 for a set of softs. But again, we are going to find that out when we get all the way through the race. So we have a bit of a team from Team COR Colin. He has made a great performance to get himself 4th place, and we get hashtag Team COR Colin in chat. So welcome you all to the live stream. How are you guys doing? I appreciate you guys showing your support. I can clearly see who is your favorite here today, as we get ourselves completed a very slow lap, I must add, of this Circuit du Spa-Francorchamps, and everyone is going to get on their grid marks. Autopilot has surely taken over the cars, as Koshia and Victor are waiting for the rest of the pack to come through, as those two got disqualified from the formation lap by contact, I would suppose. And we get the number 59 on the first row, in the first spot actually of the grid. Is going to have the inside line into turn 1. Is followed by the number 99 with Sloppy in 3rd place. That is indeed a nice shot. Let's see what we get from the start. That would be, if the camera stayed like this, it would actually be very nice, but of course it doesn't. So there you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Belgium Grand Prix. A good start from Stoppel McFloppy. I believe he got the jump on Recycle Fin. Is already dropped 2P2. Later on the brakes into turn 1. The Recycle Fin comes back at the number 99. Also we have Colin going around the outside of Swiffer. Let's see how it goes. Colin gets past with the better exit onto the the straight leading to Rouge is going to get the inside, and he claims P3. What a great start from the Force India driver as he claims P3. Stopping McFloppy are going to jump to him as we already have a crash. Swiffer is out of the race after a very bad start, losing third place to Colin. He's already out of the race. I bet he just had a Magnussen moment as he lost the rear through Rouge. We also have a challenge between Calipos and Marcel Leboeuf in the battle for fourth place. The battle for P1 has stayed stable. Grosjean also overtook. Oh my god, there's a bit of instability there from Marcel Leboeuf. I don't know if there was contact, and he drops multiple places. Grosjean is also going to say thank you very much and climb up to P8. Marcel Leboeuf is down to P9. Not the greatest start from the Canadian of the Renault, as we have also Skull and Bottas in the inter-team battle in the Haas, battling for the last points paying position. He is up to P10, the American driver, and looks like everything has stabilized. So we have actually very nicely ordered the people who are starting on the super softs. Then the two medium drivers who started 9th and 10th are now 8th and 7th respectively, so very nice start from those two. And then we have all the soft runners, as we have someone in the wall. It is Marcel Leboeuf in the wall. Skull gets collected there. Bottas might take advantage of that. Sorry, wait, what? Oh no, it might have been Bottas that got collected, and Skull, no, okay, Skull has no front wing, so he went wide at Planchemont. He was fortunate to not have terminal damage there, but yeah, Marcel Leboeuf having a disastrous first lap. He's on the wall at the first corner of the third sector. Skull had nowhere to go, got collected. Magnet and Bottas climb up to the points paying positions, as you are going to jump back to the front. Recycle Finn has already pulled an half a second gap to the reigning champion. Sloppy McFloppy Colin is starting to lose some time to those two, despite having a great start. And is showing great pace in this race. He is not keeping up with the leaders so far. Then we have Calipos in P4, 2.5 seconds behind the Force India driver, also in a bit of no man's land as Fungus is over 1 second behind. And we have Yuval Kiwi, who has kept his nose clean through the first corners and has started in 8th. He's made his way up to P6. He's the last of the super soft starters at the moment. Who is on his debut race. Let's see how it turns out for him. Then we have Weasley and Kosha on the mediums, 1 second apart from each other. And after that we have Bottas 3 seconds behind Magnet in 10th. Victor, let's see if he finishes this time around the race. EU DNF'd on his debut race at Germany. Let's see what he does. He's currently in 11th place. That is an interesting camera shot. I forgot the game adds that camera shot. It's a very specific camera shot, and it's a camera shot that doesn't last very long. It's only through that right-hander that it shows. So I'm confused why it was added to the game, because I've never seen it in any other circuit, and on this circuit that camera only lasts for about 3 seconds, as Evil Kiwi going hard on the brakes and too late as well, as McFloppy gets the fastest lap of the race. He has been probably getting the benefit of DRS. He's been trying to keep himself within a second of the race leader. You can have now a very good shot. Of course, the yellow blocks a little bit the way, but you can see the American driver setting the fin on his sights. That camera is not helping us at the moment. He's going to have DRS wide open, and you can see him reeling in the Toro Rosso driver. Still not enough for an overtaking attempt into the chicane. So unfortunately for him, he is going to have to stay put in second place at the moment. Speaking of any other possible battles, we also have Evil Kiwi pressurizing GC Fungus, who I don't recall where the Mercedes driver qualified, but he's up to P5, which is at the moment one of his best performances. He finished 3 times in 6th place in this championship already. Got 6th at Australia and Spain. Then he did not take part of the Canadian Grand Prix. 8th in Austria, 6th at Silverstone, and got his first podium of his COR career with a 3rd place at Germany. Looks like he's still on that good form. He's currently in 5th place. Colin is himself on the wall. I don't know what happened to him, but he finds himself on the wall. Most likely got himself on the grass at the exit of the left-hander there. Finds himself on the wall, missing a front wing, I would say, or at least some very important components of it. And unfortunately, for all the support he's been getting, it's going to get it's going to get quite sad, I would say, on all those supporters' emotions, as he's going to have to take himself to the pits for a replacement of front wing. And yes, I would say that the Fs that are showing up in the chat are indeed very well applied to the situation. He was not going to the pits, he's going to endure that damage, but unfortunately for him, is going to have a lot of work to do to get himself back to where he was, if there is a possibility of doing that. Speaking of the possibility of battle, Sloppy Mafloppy has been closer than ever before to recycle Finn, but still no overtaking attempt to come out from that. Evil Kiwi taking advantage of Colin's misfortunes, he's made his way up to P5. CG Fungus, or GC Fungus, is in P4, a bit of a wide exit there, as he's pressurized by the Red Bull driver. He wants to make a good showing on his first race. He's really pressurizing the British driver of the Mercedes. Let's see now on the rundown into I forgot the name of this corner of is it Pujon? I believe it is Pujon. And of course there's no opportunity for an overtake there unless someone makes a mistake at the exit of the corner with no name, and he's going to get himself nice and lined up for an overtake, maybe into Blanchimont or into turn 1 or into the Camel straight. Let's see how it goes. Sloppy Mafloppy now is still half a second behind Recycle Finn, so I believe it's best to keep ourselves with the Czech battle for this 4th place. Weasley is not too far behind. Kosha is also very close to the Williams. Let's see, is he going to go late on the brakes? He had a look at it, and he gets a 5-second stop and go penalty for exceeding the track limits there at the chicane. I would say that is a bit uncalled for, but is going to get penalized for that. He actually turned in very early, but I don't think he had any other warnings up until that point, as he has another look at the inside of the Mercedes with no result so far. We have Sloppy Mafloppy 7/10 away from Recycle Finn in the battle for the lead. Looks like no changes are going to occur, as we have Kosha. Colin is finally on the pits. Victor gets himself up to the top 10. As we have Magnet following Kosha, who's following Weasley. And it is all very close from 4th to 7th place. Let's see who gets the advantage out of this. Let's see who makes any mistake. A bit of a luck up for good measure there from Evil Kiwi as well. We are going to get ourselves to Kosha, as he's in the back of this pack, and just basically I would say just trying to keep himself on a good pace. Of course he has the medium tires. Everyone in front of him has the super softs apart from that Williams, so the medium runners at this point I would say might have a pace advantage, or at least a tire wear advantage. So I would say they just need to stay patient and wait for a good opportunity to overtake. Evil Kiwi and Fungus, they are still juking it out as we get through the end of the 2nd sector. A good run from Kosha at Weasley through the right-hander. Weasley, I don't know what he was doing there, but he got caught napping. It's going to be a drag race through Blanchimont. Let's see, will he get a Max Verstappen-like move? No, we do not. Weasley almost gets too wide there and almost got a slap on the wrist for exceeding the track limits. Kosha, though, with a bit of a lunge. I would say that is a bit too late of an overtaking attempt, but not resulting, as Weasley proves his brilliant defensive maneuvers once again, just like he did at Germany. He defends brilliantly to maintain his 5th place. Fungus, in the meantime, has gotten into the pits for a set of the white-walled mediums, is going to get himself to the end. He also goes for a replacement of the front wing. That's going to cost him time. He needs to be very quick, because I am sure Kiwi, Lee and Kosha don't have any sort of damage at the moment, so that's going to be interesting to see, as we have Kosha, Lee and Kiwi battling it out, as Kosha is going to have DRS and is going to overtake very cleanly the Williams driver. The Williams driver who did not get DRS from Evil Kiwi after the battle with the Ferrari driver at the bus stop chicane. So that's how it goes. By the way, Senor Boringo, I know the meme, I know the difference between Eau Rouge and Raidillon, I would say, but thank you very much for your contribution with the meme. The memes I'll always enjoyed in chat, are always appreciated. Thank you for your collaboration so far. Looking down at the order. We have Victor in a battle with Fungus. Fungus letting Victor pass. I don't know if he was considered overtaking beyond the track limits, and that's to give the place back to the Mexican of the Red Bull. Oh my god, there's a bit of a tank slapper there from Victor, a bit of oversteering moment, maybe a bit too much of ballast for his liking on the setup of his car, and Fungus just gets an easy overtaking maneuver up to P8. Taking a look at the battle for the lead once again, Sloppy Mafloppy has been breathing down Recycle Finn's neck, but he has not pulled the trigger so far. I believe Recycle Finn has had a bit of a better exit out of the last chicane, so it is rather important for Sloppy Mafloppy to improve on that last sector so that he can challenge Recycle Finn into turn 1. We have Calipos and Evil Kiwi into the pits. We have the Ferrari number 69. He did not get held up by the Red Bull. The number 42 is going to serve his 5-second stop and go penalty. So he's actually, I thought that Fungus was going to lose a lot of time because of replacing the front wing, but that 5-second stop and go penalty is also holding up Kiwi quite a lot. So let's see who comes out ahead from Kiwi and the Mercedes. Let's see who's going to come out of the pits in front, and it is Evil Kiwi coming out in P7. Magnets hasn't stopped yet and is up to P6. Calipos gets out of the pits on a brand new set of mediums. In P5, Weasley and Kosha have not pitted yet, as they are about 13 seconds, 14 seconds away from the duo. They are still battling for the lead. Recycle Finn, though, in the last couple laps has made himself a bit of a gap to McFloppy, or McFloppy made any sort of mistake. The gap is now over 1 second for the first time in this Grand Prix, I would say, as Colin gets himself past Victor. So Victor is really not comfortable with his car at the moment. Colin, despite having to replace his front wing, is going for a 2-stop strategy. I don't know if he's going super soft, super soft, or maybe super soft, soft. I'm pretty sure, though, that he's going to have to pit once more until the end of the race. At least he has shown a very good pace. If he keeps himself on the softer tire, despite having to make an extra pit stop, he might actually get the advantage, because he's been rather quick. It's just a shame that he made the mistake in the second sector to lose himself the battle for the top 5 where he was, and very well indeed. He was doing a great performance up until that point. We are finally the leaders in the pits. We have Recycle Finn getting out right ahead of Sloppy McFloppy, and I believe he might have actually gotten a better service from his pit crew than the Sauber team. And Sloppy McFloppy lost out quite a bit in the pits. Look at that, the gap has increased quite a bit. I would say it's now about 2 seconds from the Finn to the American driver. I believe he's from USA. Sloppy McFloppy, the reigning champion, is not on a good look at the moment for the race win. Recycle Finn, though, going for the mediums, as Sloppy McFloppy goes for the mediums. Sorry, Recycle Finn on the softs, as Sloppy McFloppy goes on the mediums. That was quite an interesting choice from Recycle Finn. I wonder if that was a mistake, or if that is actually what premeditated by Recycle Finn. He's going to have better pace early on the stints, and he's going to pull away from Sloppy McFloppy. Of course, he's going to break the DRS. He's going to get an easier time overtaking Weasley and Kosha, but those two cars in front of him might also prove to be quite annoying to get past. So despite him having fresher tires, softer rubber on the tires as well, let's see how easily he can get past Weasley and the Ferrari driver Kosha. Let's see how that turns out. Scanning down the gaps, we don't really see cars within a second of each other. We have Fungus still chasing down Evil Kiwi after his front wing replacement. He is chasing down Evil Kiwi. Let's see who has the most comfortable place out of those two. Magnet hasn't stopped yet on his softs. He's due to stop at the end of lap 10, so I would say actually not, because he did not start on those set of softs. He's actually on a 7-lap old set of softs, so he's due to pit in about 3 laps time, I would say, the Force India driver. As we have now Recycle Finn chasing down Weasley. Does he have DRS? Yes, he does have DRS on the Williams driver, as he finally gets within a second. Look how much the gap has shortened. Now he's going to probably get held up quite a bit, and Wesley is not a slouch whatsoever when it comes to defending his position. He showed that at Germany with a brilliant performance, a brilliant display of defensive driving, not only versus Swiffer, but also versus some other drivers whose name I forget. But yeah, Swiffer in chat, he's out of the race, he's in chat, and I'm pretty sure he can testify on how hard Wesley was to overtake back at Germany. So let's see how it goes. Recycle Fin really on the gearbox of that Williams is surely going to look for a better exit. Look at that, a bit of a mistake there from Wesley. Let's see now, he's going to get more traction out of this right-hander. Wesley almost going into the wall, that's how much he's struggling on his tires. It's going to try the switch onto the inside of the corner. He almost crossed the collision because Wesley, once he saw that Recycle Fin was going for the left, he tried to go for the right to open up. But yeah, that almost caused the collision there as Wesley actually retired from the session. There was actually contact between Wesley and Recycle Fin, and yeah, that's very unfortunate to see. We can't see him because of course he has retired, and we can't take a look at his view from there. And yeah, there was contact between Wesley and the Recycle Fin. I would say Recycle Fin, as much as I could say it is a racing incident, I don't think much else was expected of Wesley. Recycle Fin tried to go on the left hand side. Once Wesley realized that, he moved to the right, but once he moved to the right, Recycle Fin had also moved to the right as well. So I don't know. Recycle Fin was Wesley was trying to give Recycle Fin the space, but in doing that, he actually ends up colliding with Recycle Fin, who was expecting Wesley to cover that left-hand side quite aggressively. So unfortunately, that's the end of the race for the Williams driver, and he is out of the contest for actually a podium. I would say he would be on the battle for a third place finish here today. We now have Recycle Fin chasing down the order of the medium starters, as is closing down on Kosia, but we're actually going to jump to Fungus, who has shown better pace, or at least to be more comfortable on the set of mediums than Evil Kiwi, and he has been reeling in as Victor gets himself out of the race. So he has had his second DNF in the first two races of his COR career. Unfortunately for the Mexican, he is out of this Grand Prix, who has been struggling quite a lot with his car. He showed quite a few moments of a lively rear end. Maybe his car setup wasn't too well set up for the race environment, maybe better suited for qualifying. But yeah, he wasn't comfortable in race pace with his car, and he ends up getting out of the race. So at the moment, everyone who finishes the race has guaranteed a top 10 finish. Let's see how it goes. We have Recycle Fin overtaking Kosia in the meantime. Sorry, I missed that one. Also a big tank slapper from Colin at the exit of the bus stop chicane. He almost found himself in the wall. I would say that he's getting a bit impatient now, as he's trying to get back on a good pace and trying to get back to a top 5 finish. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, especially considering he has to stop once again, but I'm pretty sure that he does want to get the best finish possible. As we have now Fungus chasing down Evil Kiwi. It's going to get the battle between himself and the Czech driver of the Red Bull, and the Red Bull driver has nothing else to do apart than just letting the Mercedes win, then tucking behind him to try to get some slipstream to not get the British driver run away. And there we have the Mercedes up to P5. So let's see if he can hold on to this position until the end of the race. Looking at Sloppy Mafloppy, he does not have to get past Wesley, which helps him, but he does have to get past Kosia. Of course, it is a 7-lap difference in terms of tire wear, but Kosia is still battling for position and is very well entitled to battle as hard as he can for that one. We are going to take a look later on and see how that goes. Evil Kiwi, as you can see from the gaps, has started to lose a couple car lengths, a couple tenths to GC Fungus. So GC Fungus has been on an amazing form since Germany. He got 3rd place there and is currently 5th place. It's going to be the second, if it finishes like this, it's going to be the second top 5 finish of the season so far for him. And yeah, it looks like Calipos is too far ahead, but it is going to be interesting to see if Evil Kiwi can respond with Slipstream and and the DRS when he can. Let's see if Evil Kiwi can reel him in, because Evil Kiwi is not by any means a slouch, especially around the circuit. But he is indeed struggling a little bit to keep up with Fungus. He might have, the gap is showing for him to be still within a second, as we have Magnet and Marcel Leboeuf battling into the bus stop chicane. We're going to jump to Evil Kiwi to see if he's going to reel in Fungus there. But he is too far behind. I'm not even sure if he had DRS. Yes, he did have DRS there to aid him, but it's not enough for him to get much closer at the moment. We're going to take a look at Marcel Leboeuf, who's right on the gearbox of the Force India drivers. You get up through Rouge and Radion. He actually, even before the DRS zone, what a better exit from the Canadian driver. The front wing got very close to the rear diffuser of that Force India, but he made it work as Kiwi gets a 3-second time penalty of his own, unfortunately, and the Canadian gets easily past Magnet. What a great overtaking maneuver there. He who is unlikely to get promoted any further. I mean, he's going to get promoted once Colin gets himself on the pits, as Bottas crashes out of the race. So unfortunately, he's going to get himself out. Kosha finally gets himself in the pits as Recycle Fin gets the fastest lap of the race so far. And look at the gap, it's already almost 4 seconds between Sloppy McFloppy and Recycle Fin. Of course, Recycle Fin is going to struggle on his tires until the end of the Grand Prix. We have the number 13 of the Ferrari getting rid of his white-walled mediums, and he gets a brand new set of softs, so he's going to be rather competitive until the end of the race. His teammate Calipos gets himself in front of him as the number 13 is getting out of the pits. Let's see what the Lithuanian does now with the fresher and softer tires towards the end of the race. There is no chance of rain, so let's see how that is going to go. We have, as I was going to say, we have Colin, who is trying to recover from his antics early on. He was running in 4th, then he had a mistake in the 2nd sector and he crashed, lost his front wing. He tried to hold on to it with good race pace, but the damage was just too grave or too major for him to be able to carry on without pitting for a replacement. He did pit, got a set of softs that he has been carrying on for 8 laps, but he's still going to have to pit for once again for one more stop, and let's see how it does. Marcel Leboeuf, I'm sure he's going to overtake him, but after that Colin is going to get himself a brand new set of tires and he's going to be charging and on the mirrors of the Canadian driver rather soon, I would say. Now, getting ourselves a scan through the order. Yes, Colin is closing in quite a bit on Evil Kiwi. He's already less than a second on Kiwi, as Marcel Leboeuf, I believe it was, getting a 3-second time penalty for extending the track limits. Let's see how it goes now. He's going to get a bit of slipstream. I believe he's close enough to get a bit of slipstream on a Kiwi. Let's see how it does. You can see the speed difference, hopefully, as he gets the slipstream on that Red Bull as we get through Blanchimont. And the bus stop chicane, look at that, he gets very deep into the corner. I'm sure he went on the brakes a bit later than what he would have liked, and it's the second time he gets that big of a tank slapper at the exit of the bus stop chicane. That's not going to help his tire life, and he needs to chill. I understand that he's frustrated with his mistake, but enforcing things will likely end up causing on another big mistake for him. He lost a lot of time to Kiwi there. He's already not even within striking distance of the Czech driver of the Red Bull. So again, he basically got his last 2 laps work nullified. He needs to chill, he needs to keep himself in check of his emotions and just keep his head down. He knows that he has good pace. He needs to get himself trying, because we do want to see a battle between these two. I would really like to see a battle between these two develop. And I'm not saying just an overtaking maneuver aided by DRS. I would like to see an actual battle between these two, as the newcomer gets the welcome party from Colin given to him. So yeah, it would be interesting to see how that one develops. Taking a look at Grosjean, who is of course on softer, newer tires, fresher tires compared to his teammate. He's on 7 laps old mediums, is going to be closing in rather quickly to DRS range, and I'm sure within 1 or 2 laps he's going to get himself past his own teammate. I would actually expect there not to be much of a fight put up by Kalipos, as the Dutch driver will let the Lithuanian pass with no issues whatsoever. At least that is what I am expecting. And then Grosjean can try and go and challenge Sloppy McFloppy, even though the gap is about 15 seconds between 3rd and 2nd place. It could be quite a bit of a stretch for Kalipos to, for Grosjean to challenge Sloppy McFloppy, but he has much fresher tires and softer tires as well. So I guess I've seen weirder things happen, but it would be an enormous task for sure, as we are looking at the gaps, 5.3 seconds between Sloppy McFloppy and Recycle Finn. I am going to take a look at the race director, and I do want to see if either the American driver or the Finn have any penalties. Let's see. Recycle Finn has a warning. Sloppy McFloppy has a warning. Finn got a warning, but that was for a collision. And Sloppy McFloppy got a warning himself. And okay, so I believe we are 2 warnings, 2 track extension warnings for each side. So if anyone does one more mistake, they are going to get 3 seconds worth of penalties. So they do not only have to be quick, they also need to be consistent. Recycle Finn is going to have the tires give up on him towards the end of the race. Let's see how that goes. The gap is 5 seconds at the moment. It has been stable for the past 2 laps. So I would say that in terms of tire wear, they are about the same. There's not too much separating these two, but now it's all about driving, about their precision to keep their cars within the track limits, to not get any slaps on their wrists, and the tire management, especially from Recycle Finn, to make his tires last until the end without getting too many issues from Sloppy McFloppy. In the meantime, Grosjean has already overtaken his teammate, so not really much of a battle through there. They were just going to get themselves through. Grosjean is on a different strategy, so Grosjean was ahead before the pit stops. Grosjean is the one with the chance to challenge P2, so not much to see within these two. Colin has pitted once again. Marcel Leboeuf has actually not overtaken Colin as I was expecting. So Colin went into the pits for his last stint on the softs. He's going to give it all. I'm pretty sure he won't be able to get back to Evil Kiwi unless there is a mistake to be had. But Marcel Leboeuf on older mediums, let's see if he can keep himself within slipstream range, within DRS range, because this might still be a battle for 7th place. Of course, Colin is going to have superior pace throughout the 2nd sector, but Colin has shown to be rather inconsistent today. He has had very, very good pace, but he has been quite inconsistent. So let's see how that goes for him, if he can keep his head cool and keep his head on his shoulders and at least bring home the 7th place, which is still quite respectable. Of course, it's 7th out of 9 finishers, but still, if you take a look at the gaps, it's actually quite far ahead of everybody else that would be behind them had they not retired from the race. Now, scanning the order, again, Kalipos is just losing time, and yeah, we don't really have much in terms of battles at the moment. I don't know, at least I haven't got any notifications from Floppy and Recycle Finn getting any penalties apart from their 2 warnings apiece. So it might be a battle of attrition here. It might be one forcing the other into a mistake. The gap is growing, but just by a tenth over the last 3 laps. So they are really on similar pace. It is really going to be a matter of Sloppy McFloppy trying to push too hard to close in, or Recycle Finn getting caught out by his degrading tires It is going to be until the end. It's not going to be exciting wheel banging action, but it is, I'm pretty sure it is a fun race for these two, as they are just trying to take each other to the limits, trying to make the other get a mistake that would at least help. In the case of Sloppy Mafloppy, a 3-second time penalty from Finn would help him catch up, as Colin gets a 3-second time penalty of his own. So at the moment he is behind Marcel Leboeuf. So Marcel Leboeuf just needs to keep himself, despite having older harder tires, he just needs to keep himself cool and not get himself into trouble, even though I don't know if Marcel Leboeuf has a penalty of his own. We are actually going to take a look at that real quick. Let me take a look at the Canadian flag. So one warning. Yes, he does have at least one 3-second penalty. Let's see. Yes, he only has 1 second penalty. So he is actually 1.6 seconds behind Colin. So that is neutralized between those two, as both got a penalty so far. And the gap is actually increased between Sloppy Mafloppy and Recycle Finn. We're going to take a look at the laps in terms of the pace between these two. As you guys can see, it's been mid, occasionally low, or rather low, occasionally mid 146s for the for the soft run Recycle Finn. Sloppy Mafloppy is mid 146s, so he's dropping about 2 or 3 tenths per lap due to his harder compound, but is going to have the advantage in tire wear later on, I would say. Also, Recycle Finn, Scotia gets a 3-second penalty of his own, so despite getting quite a lot of work done in catching up to Sloppy Mafloppy, he just got a 3-second time penalty, so maybe he's pushing too hard, and that's not going to help his cause. Maybe if Sloppy gets a 3-second penalty of his own, or if he makes any mistake, Kosha might have an opportunity at that second place. But now, especially with the 3-second time penalty, it is going to be quite hard for the Lithuanian to get himself above the last place of the podium. At least Kosha has not bottled a pole position like he did at Germany. He finished 5th place at Germany after starting on pole. Today, I don't recall what his qualifying position was, but he is currently on the podium, which is a much better result than what he achieved last time out. In fact, looks like Kosha and Fungus have exactly the reversed positions compared to their finishing positions at the Hockenheimring. Kosha finished 5th and GC Fungus finished 3rd. Now it seems to be the reverse. And Kalipos, I would say he would finish in 4th in Germany, but no, he actually finished in 9th. So unfortunately for that, we can't have that big of a coincidence, which would be quite funny. But we do have Kosha and Fungus swapping positions for the time being. We have only 3 laps to go here at the Circuit du Spa-Francorchamps. Evil Kiwi gets a 3-second time penalty. He's the first to buckle. He probably got caught out by his ever-degrading tires, and Sloppy Mafloppy might have Jeff on his ears telling him right now, push, you need to dig in, find the best of your talent, because Recycle Finn has made a mistake. He has a 3-second time penalty on his at the end of his race, or added to his total race time. So you just need to buckle up, take use of your superior tire wear because you have harder tires, and get yourself charging to try and get that win. It would be the first win of the season for the reigning world champion. Who in every single race he has taken part of finished 2nd place. He did not take part of the first 2 races of the season, then he came back at Canada, got 2nd place, at the following race in Austria got 2nd place, then he did not race at Silverstone, come to Hockenheim, he got 2nd place, and today it looks like he's going to get 2nd place. So Sloppy, if he doesn't get 2nd place at the end of the championship, I'm going to be a very sad boy. That's going to be my state of emotions, believe you me, as he's still letting the gap increase to Recycle Finn. So yeah, despite the penalty, Recycle can just breathe very easier now, as he just has to hold it for 2 extra laps before getting himself back on the winning column. It would be the 5th win of the season for the Finn. It would be also the 2nd win in a row, the 3rd win in 4 races, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It would be the 4th win in 7. Sorry, the what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It would be the 5th win in 7 races for the Toro Rosso driver. Yeah, just looking at chat, Legion just, yeah. You can get them words out. I am trying to get my words out. This is quite hard, but I just have to endure the last 2 laps of the race. Sloppy McFloppy finally took an entire second out of Recycle Finn, so it just has 2 seconds to go, or sorry, 2 seconds for a win, I would say, 2.5 seconds. Which, I mean, it just got a second, so it is not out of the realm of possibility. Especially, I don't know what caused it. Maybe a mistake from Recycle Finn. But, yeah, if that's what it takes, if it takes some mistakes from Recycle Finn, those might occur. Because I'm pretty sure he's struggling with his tires. I am pretty darn sure that he has prepared himself for the amount of tire wear he would have later in the race. Apologize for that. But, so he has prepared for the behavior of the car. So it's going to be tough from Sloppy McFloppy to get anything out of that. But, nonetheless, Recycle Finn needs to get himself composed. He needs to have no more mistakes if he wants to get the win today. He just got on the pending shot as he was coming down into Pujon. We could see for a brief moment Sloppy McFloppy on the camera shots coming out of the corner with no name. So he's not that far away. If Recycle Finn has any off-track excursion, that's going to be it for his chances at winning. Because Sloppy McFloppy, despite being on slower tires and slower pace overall, just slightly but still slower, he has not made the same amount of mistakes. He only has 2 warnings for extending track limits and he does not have a penalty. So if you're going to, at least, if he's not winning, at least he was the most well behaved of the 2, if I can say that so far. As they are about to start the last lap, you can see the gap between Sloppy McFloppy and Recycle Finn. The gap has dropped down to exactly 5 seconds. Maybe Sloppy McFloppy was waiting for his fuel and his ERS for a late charge. The gap is indeed dropping. Let's see how it goes. He knows that he just needs 1.9 seconds to get himself the win. Let's see, could he pull that off with a qualifying lap, sort of pace? If he goes with that same amount of effort into it, maybe he was holding on to the fuel and the RS to do that. Let's see how that goes. Recycle Finn gets himself gets himself through the second sector now. He who qualified on pole, and despite not having the best start, he was able to hold down the inside line into turn 1. So Sloppy McFloppy actually got the jump on him on the launch itself, but then Recycle Finn was later on the brakes into turn 1 and he was able to hold on to the inside lane and recovered first place. And since then he has been practically unchallenged from by the American drivers. They are going to get now through the end of the second sector. 4.6 seconds is the gap, and it looks like it might not be enough. We don't see any other battles developing down on the grid. We don't know everyone who has penalties, so this order of the pack might change, but we only have one big braking zone for Recycle Finn as he gets very nicely through the bus stop chicane, and there you have it. Recycle Finn is going to cross over the line to take home the win of the Belgium Grand Prix. What a race from him. Sloppy McFloppy can't better second place after a brilliant performance from him as well. Kosha comes home in P3. He tried for the tire advantage later on the race. he got himself 3rd place and the fastest lap. Unfortunately, we don't award any points for the fastest lap. Only the bragging rights is what we're going to have to stay content with. Calipos comes home in P4, so finally a good performance from the Dutch driver, and getting himself in the top 5. It has been the first double top 5 of the season for the Ferrari team, as we have Fungus in 5th place, so another respectable top 5 for him. Evil Kiwi, he has made his fair share of mistakes, but overall a great debut race with a 6th place for the Czech driver of the Red Bull, Colin in 7, Marcel Leboeuf in 8, never too far behind, but of course both of them had a 3-second time penalty, so the Canadian is not going to get anything from that. And Magnet is going to get himself his first points finish of the season. He just needed to keep his nose clean. He got with his fair share of incidents, but nothing that was terminal damage, so he's going to get himself at the end of the race with a first top 10 finish of the season for the British driver, as there he is, the last one of the pack to finish the race, as the number 13 concludes the pack in 9th place at the end of this Belgium Grand Prix. So now we are going to get ourselves to the podium, and yeah, it was an amazing race. Driver of the day for Magnet, right? Yeah, he's the only guy that forces me to actively not try to pronounce his name in full in this league, so I guess props for the troll he has put on me for the entire season. But nonetheless, we have the Toro Rosso driver for the 5th time of the season on the top step of the podium. Is alongside eternal 2nd place in this season, Sloppy Mafloppy, and in 3rd place with a great performance is Kosha. We are going to get ourselves through the official results in a second. Let's see how that goes after we get through that experience. I'm getting experience, I don't know why, I'm not even taking part of the Grand Prix, but there you have it. Recycle Finn from 1st on the grid to 1st on the podium. Sloppy Mafloppy, the same for him. Kosha started in 9th, so great performance from him to get himself 3rd place. Calipos in 4th, Fungus in 5th, Kiwi in 6th after starting in 8th. Colin, unfortunate mistake from him, but it could have been worse. Damage limitation in this race for the Force India driver, gets himself 7th. Marcel Leboeuf in 8th, Magnets in 9th, and Bottas, despite DNFing, I don't know if he's going to get awarded the points for 10th places. This is it for today, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like button. If you did not, the dislike button is, as always, right beside it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. It's the bell icon for any notifications of whenever I'm about to start a live stream or to post a video. If you are on Twitch, the follow would be greatly appreciated. Hope to see you guys next time, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.